So hi guys, I'm Frans Vollink from the Netherlands. We're in Whiteveen, where I have my little studio place. So welcome over here. I'm the bass player of Tristan. As a jazz band, we try to reproduce kind of the sound of the 70s, but with a modern twist and with modern production tools, of course. So, and I just wanted to talk you guys a little bit through the process of making this song, which is called Admiration, from our third album, which is called Lifestyle. So. Okay, this is a song called Admiration. It started off as Moon Tune 3.0, I think, because Moon Tune was one of our first songs, and since the album, every project, Cubase project, starts off with that title. But in the end, Evelyn did a lyric on it, wrote lyrics on it, and so it became Admiration. It starts off with a very simple 4-chord progression. So I can play the progression, maybe. It would be cool to play it on a Rhodes. I'm not a piano player, by the way, so you have to excuse me a bit. The progression is like a 4-chord progression, basically, which consists of 2nd chord, 3rd chord, and the 4th. Now deliberately we don't do root notes yet, because root notes can mess up the whole chord, of course. You can have this would make it an F major 9, this would make it an D minor 9, I guess, with 11 in it. This would make it a major 7 sharp 11, something like that. So you can do all kinds of stuff. So we like to leave it open at first and just record with simple contacts, piano player, record those 4 chords and make a loop out of it. So it would then sound like this. So that's basically the idea. Already made to audio, of course, to save some resources in Cubase. Next step would be to have the shaker and a simple conga loop to give it a sense of rhythm. So then you have kind of a vibe going on, you know, where you can work from here. These are just pretty much stylus loops. I love to use stylus. It's very convenient. It has ready for use audio loops, and you can just drag and drop them straight into Cubase. Excellent to use. We really like to, when we record, we really like to get it as much as possible the way in. So if we don't like a bass drum sound, we like to change the bass drum head, or change the microphone, or change the position of the mic. So the processing should be minimal, but we'll get to that in a while, of course. There's this one great feature in Cubase, which is called a loop browser. For instance, there's this, we're still looking for a vibe, for the basic, not even a melody or something. It's all about vibe and getting inspiration from your DAW, which Cubase is really great in. There's a little guitar FX going on over here that is just straight from the loop browser. I can show you guys. Loop browser over there. And then we can just search for guitar. Oops. Guitar FX. There you go. And it should start. So it's just a loop, and it's already in time. You know, if you switch over to musical mode over here, you see align beats to project. So it should give a click now, but probably the click is still going to the monitor feed to the other studios. That's why we don't hear a click right now. But it's basically in time. So then you can click double on it, and you have straight in your project time aligned. Now, what I do is I cut this up a little bit, and I pitch shifts. Very simple with process. Pitch shifts, it's over there. Over here you can see it. And I make it fit the piano. And sounds like this. So you hear the pitch change going on. And still looking for some more things to do. Here's the LA Red E guitar. It's a great, it's amazing how much stuff there is in like the loop browser, and how much sounds and how much, I mean, we can just go to a couple ones very quickly, you know. It's, here are the E guitars over here. Stuff like that, you know, and I mean, there are like bass DI fills, you know, all kinds of stuff to get you going and give some inspiration mainly, because that's why I use it for mostly. So cut it up again, and it sounds like this. So to give it a little bit of a funky guitar vibe, you know, still in this is all in the demo phase, I should say, just to you know, to get a vibe for a song. So it's really not something. Although this two sounds did make the record, but the next loop is just a street cop guitar, which is also on the loop browser. Probably you can find it over here. Street Cops, what's in the name? Street Cops. And there should be a guitar. Oh, okay. So again, we just pitched that up to match the key of the song. Sounds like this. Alright, so now we have a basic 4-chord loop with some effects and some atmospherical things going on. Now I like to experiment a little bit with the root notes of the thing. Obviously I'm a bass player myself, so I know the power of a root note, of course, as a bass player. So I start noodling on the piano. So I go back to that 4-chord progression, which was basically... Sorry, that's why I'm a pianist, not a pianist. So I start looking around for, you know, oh, that sounds nice. Well, this sounds also nice, you know, and the second one. Oh, that one sounds nice. Yes, this is like noodling like that. So, and at the end you come with a little progression. The first time, pretty obvious. Sorry, major of course. Now let's see if we can change those root notes the second time without changing the progression with the right hand. So, this was the one I liked the second time. And okay, so. suddenly becomes a 13 sus4 chord. With a C in the bass, it suddenly becomes like a C minor 11/9, and then again a sus13 chord. Of course, very usable chords for acid, classical acid jazz. So next thing would be I grab my bass and I start recording a bass track, and it sounds like this. Here I came up with a certain groove, of course, but the basic notes are just those 4 notes: F, C sharp, D sharp, B, D, B flat, C, and then A flat. So that's basically making an 8-bar progression out of a 4-bar progression, just because the second 4 bars we change the root notes. And then there's a bit of a groove going on. So that makes it already, you know, in combination with the program conga, it gives a bit of sense of direction where the groove should go for Sebastian, our drummer. I can show you a bit of processing going on the bass, probably not too much. On the first insert I have a virtual channel of slate, which in this case is set on USA, which probably is setting for API, an API console. There's a little bit of drive going on, and that's just basically it. And this is all assigned to a group because this is on every channel we record from now on. So it gives a bit of a sense of an analog vibe. If I just put it on the bass and I don't hear too much difference, but if we can later on, I can show you again if the whole mix is set up, and then by grouping the thing we can just put it on and or off at all the channels. So and then you really hear a difference. It's subtle, but it seems like there's some time things going on with this plugin, like a real analog console. It's I don't know how to call it. Not that technical, but it seems to do some tiny phase issues, which gives it a sense of a little more depth, I guess, a little more 3D sounding, which you have with an analog console like the one we have in front, of course. But I don't use it because it doesn't have the total recall. So that's a pain in the ass with all the demanding band members wanting to change things in the mix. So that's why we don't use it. Second thing I've done is tube tech, compressor going on. Pretty medium attack, very fast release because the tempo of the song is pretty fast. So we want to recover the compressor pretty quickly. And just a few dBs of skipping because I don't like messing around with my dynamics too much. But it's nice to have it sit in the mix later on. Over here you see some, I just used a basic, the main Cubase EQ. When I EQ 9 out of 10 times, unless I have to go really surgical, then I have some like isotope EQs I can use. But I just like it sounds perfect to me, so I don't see any use in using third-party equalizers for that task. So these are obviously things we decided later on in the mix, of course, because this ended up as the bass track for the record. What I've done is just adjust a little bit with a very broad shell. I like very broad shells because it sounds better to my ears than all the surgical stuff. If you EQ really surgical stuff, then to my ears it doesn't sound so good. I like then to go back and re-record it with a different sound, or that's always our preference over you know, EQ curves going through the roof, because yeah, for this kind of music it never sounds very good. I mean, I can understand if you are an electronic dance music producer, you can get really great results and really great effects with it, but for classical analog sounding acid jazz as we're after, it's not the best way usually to do it. This would eventually evolve in a song with a chorus and a little change in chords for the to make kind of a verse, I should say verse going on. So next thing would be to program a little, let's see, a little melody. Some bells going on. So there's kind of a melody going on because, of course, eventually this demo gets sent out to the various band members, and Evelyn needs kind of a melody, of course, to prepare herself, and she writes the lyrics, so she has a big task in this. So this is what she gets from me. So here's a chorus going on, verse going on. Well, that depends on how you look at it. You could kind of call this a pre-chorus. And we go back to the chorus again, which is the main 4-bar, 8-bar loop we talked about earlier. So when we have the guide melody kind of made up in Omnisphere, it's called, very cool synth plugin. I really love that one. Then I send it over to by internet to our singer Evelyn, who of course has to do the lyrics and the singing. She's the one who writes the lyrics also. So, and she sends me back a melody she sung at her place, sometimes with even a little bit idea of a backing vocal. So it's still very rough, you know, there's no edits, it's all one take. It's just a guide melody line, but we get the idea of the song going.
Admiration, just look at how they stare. Implications, and they don't seem to care. Confirmation that she is in control. Aggravation, she's a pretty girl who shrewdly rules the world, playing games with hearts and leaves them in a whirl. Just
So you can hear this didn't make the record. But still, Evelyn is just a great vocalist, so even her demo tracks already sound quite amazing, I find. This doesn't have any processing, no auto-tune, there's no, I mean, you can do like all kinds of funny stuff, of course, like probably everybody knows this one. Stuff like that, but fortunately with Evelyn we don't need that kind of stuff, so we're really happy to have her in the band. So then it becomes quite a song already. The basic outline of the song is kind of ready. There's an instrumental thing going on we created later.
But in her dream she still feels the swing that flew higher than the clouds could fly, jump and fall in her daddy's arms.
So, and the idea here was to give a little drum feature. So just some kicks. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. And a little modulation at the end. And we go to a little solo of the keyboards, and then again the chorus. So now it's time to do, for me at least, to do some more arranging. What we of course love in the band is, and we are fortunate to have a horn section of 3 great players. So next step would be to arrange some horn steps, and especially in the intro I'm already hearing kind of these horn things. So again, this is just basically a contact trumpet, a contact sax player and a contact trombone player. It's also somewhere hidden in MIDI. I don't know where it is right now because it's like a project of 130 tracks. But the great thing of course is that you can export it as MIDI and make very easy parts of it. Personally I use Sibelius for this, to send out to the horn players to play over, so they have immediately a score. Here are the horn steps. So, and over here you hear the horns getting more static. So first part is definitely a horns feature, and the second part, so the second 4 bars, are more of a one laying chord thing with a little sforzando going on, like wham. So, and I'm hearing like kind of the violins taking over. So here are some violins. So here are the horns. You hear violin steady over here. Now it takes over. So they're kind of giving room to each other in the arrangement. I like that. Last thing I've done before I send it out is just a little very simple, like kind of an arpeggio thing that is static. I think except for the last chord where we have to transpose a little bit. Sounds like that. There's the transposition. So now it's time to send it out to the guys. The thing we do is the hardcore part of the band consists of Sebastian Cornelissen, a really great drummer, if I may say so, who has also a very unique sound and a very unique approach of recording drums. We'll get into that in a bit. And our keyboard player Koen Molenaar, who is a very great producer in his own right. And the 3 of us, we just record at Sebastian's place. So not over here. We could do it over here easily, but the thing is, Sebastian's parents have a great studio and have also lots of space for musicians to hang around a few days. So we have kind of a we call it our man weekend, where other men go fishing or something for a weekend. We just go record an album. And then we like to do it as live as possible, so we record with the three of us live. That also means redoing a lot, because we're very critical. And we don't like editing a lot, so yeah, we do a lot of takes. But in the end, I think it's worth it, because you really hear the consistency of the playing. So let's get to the drum part of Sebastian. Here's the drum group. Let me unmute it. So as I was saying, Sebastian has a really own approach of recording the drums. He really likes his drum recorded in a specific way. Also, he has some endorsements of certain mic brands. So like Aston mics, English brands. SE, so he has some he mainly uses LDC for the drums, also for the close mic'd instruments, which give a very different sound, of course, than when you would use dynamic mics. Not very much tracks, and not a lot of tracks going on. Can quickly go through them. Kick drum, snare, there's only one snare in this case. Sometimes he likes to use a bottom snare also, but this, I think this one is mic'd from the side, so it gets a little different snare sound and gets a lot of gets enough snare sound of the bottom also. Overheads, left, right. There's a floor tom going on, close mic'd, another floor tom, close mic'd, tom mic, close mic'd, and a hi-hat going on in this case. So that's very basic, not too complicated at all. We can go through the processing a bit. So here's the kick drum. Again, the slate, of course, which is grouped to the same settings on each channel to give a bit of consistency. And there's this little gadget going on from TubeTech, which is kind of an equalizer that you can work against each other on the same areas. Works great, especially for controlling the high end. Kind of like there. Because Seb is one of those drummers that is really consistent with his feet. It really doesn't need any compression in this stage. So you can see it's at the view, it's really nicely balanced, no problems there. So for the rest, not much going on. I see there's a phase button engaged, which would probably mean that in combination with the overheads, it sounds a bit fuller. Sometimes I shift around a little bit with the drum tracks to make the phase coherent, but in this case, you can just zoom in at the overheads and see that it's all nicely in phase. So no problems there. Excellent recording by Seb. Snare. Typical close snare. In itself, it doesn't sound too great actually, but you know, in combination with the overheads, Snares always tend to open up, so a little bit of aggression going on here with the API. A little bit digging in, not too much, but you can already hear it's quite, also because the tone is set to loud, it's really aggressive, but a little bit is always nice on snare, I think. A little bit of bottom ends, like 150 there going on, and a little bit again, a very broad shelf in the high end. Here's an envelope shaper going on. Doesn't do that much, a little bit of punch added, and of course the tails are very useful for a snare sound. You can really make a snare very big. Of course I exaggerate now, but you get the idea what we do with it. So just a little bit extra release gives the snare a little bit more tone. We like that. There's also a verb going on, worth mentioning. This is just a stock Steinberg reference plugin. It's an IR based reverb. So that means you can also load third-party IRs, which is great. This is one you can get, I think, for free from the internet. It's a Bricasti M7 reverb. Wooden Room sounds excellent, especially when you hear it on the whole kit. This is dry. And this is with a little reverb. So it's not even a reverb, it's like a room maybe, you know, it's an ambient, so I like it for these kinds of purposes. So override, left, right, no processing going on whatsoever, just only the sense. Of course some low cut. Same goes for the left. Quickly review the floor. Again, no compression going on, so that's really boring for you guys. Just a bit of for the floor. See if he can find a spot where he hits one. Maybe at the beginning of the song. There you go. So just controlling the low end a bit and cutting out some dirt. You know, usually 400 or 500 hertz is the dirt area for toms. So cutting out that a bit. Of course, the same goes for the other toms. We have a hi-hat going on. I'm not sure if it is on in the mix, so it should do something. Let's see what it does. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's really panned to the right. I see, just to give some more space. Usually the hi-hat, of course, is bleeding like hell through the snare, and that means that the snare and the hi-hat are kind of panned in the middle. So I'd like to use the hi-hat track just to pan it over a bit to a side, so to say. So it's coming all together in a drum bus over here. And let me see, there is some procession going. Okay, this is almost doing nothing, I see, and it has a reason, because I've sent it to another group, which is the parallel group. The parallel group has obviously some heavy compression going on, so almost nuked in the sense of a very minimal attack, a very big ratio, and late release, quickly release, I should say. So what that does, and especially what the EQ curve does, is smoothing out the low end and the high end. It's a little trick I picked up somewhere. If you put kind of a bathtub EQ going, and then you can just now you can definitely hear the compression going on, which is way too much, of course. But you hear what it does. It smoothens out the high and the low end, which is great. And of course, it makes it a lot fuller because of the parallel compression, while still maintaining the transients of the original material. So that's lovely, I think. Well, that's nice. So, a little bit of verb going on there. Perfect. All going to one bus, I should stress. Also the verb, I like to go to the drum bus, because then the compression reacts a little bit sometimes at the verb, which makes it dance a little bit around a little bit. And we like that. So now we talked about the drums. Next in line is Cohen, our keyboard player. Cohen has all kinds of stuff to his disposal, so that's really fortunate to have him as a keyboard player. He has like an original Hammond, original Fender Rhodes. He has an SE1, I think, which is a very cool analog synthesizer. I think he used them on this. He uses them on this project. So I think we'll get across it. First of all, there's kind of two Rhodes tracks going on. There's some space in the beginning before the horns kick in, so Koen is always quickly to take that space and record a little solo. This is a original Rhodes, so a real one, no sample. There's a bit of compression going on. In this case, it's just a stock compressor of Steinberg. It's great, it's transparent, it does the job. So there's no need for us to go to all kinds of fancy third-party compressors. And of course, what's really authentic, we always think, is the auto pan, which gives it a nice sense of space. So it sounds like this. We'll solo it for you guys. Again, almost no EQ going on, a little bit of low cut to get out the dirt. And just a really broad shell again in the highs, so to get out the bell sound of the, that's why you should use a real Rhodes, right, for details like that. There's a little bit of reverb going on. In this case, is the Lex Vintage plate. Pretty basic settings. Maybe a little bit more pre-delay. I'm always a sucker for pre-delay. Cool. So, Koen is really one of those keyboard players that can be really demanding when it's time to record, in the sense that when we are finished with recording, he already has ideas for the next track and the next track. So he's always sitting on my ass and saying, okay, are you ready? Another stereo track. Here are some bells. In this case, I think it's a Yamaha motif thing. So a real keyboard. The Yamaha has FX built in, so it's really, there's no, if it doesn't work for the production, we just choose a different sound. We don't mess with the channel settings or anything. There's a piano going on, which is a motif piano. Koen loves the motif. He is one of those guys who actually hates the Nord lead, which is also a very much used piano sound. But Koen just swears with the motive, and I think he has a point, it sounds great. And anyway, it's very soft in the mix, so when it's time to put the piano really in front of the mix, on another song we like to redo it with a real grand piano. Koen teaches at the Conservatory of Haarlem, so there are lots of great sounding grand pianos over there, and then I come over with a little laptop, and then we record the thing with like 3 mics stereo, just a basic stereo setting, and sometimes an extra mic for the bass holes of the piano. And that's basically it. Let's see what else. So we put the shaker and the conga on mute now, because we're not going to use that in the final product. Of course, we have a percussion player who can do that very well. Next would be to have Evelyn sing. We start off with the lead, 2 tracks. In this case, because I'm very lazy, on track 2 there is, I think, yeah, there's a delay going on. So I've linked the 2 channels together, and when I want a little word that needs some delay, I just can cut it out and move it over to another track, and I have the same settings with a delay going on. Let's quickly go through the processing. Not too much. My go-to compressor for Evelyn's vocals would be the Tube Tech. The Tube Tech to me is one of those compressors you can really push and it still sounds natural. A lot of other compressors tend to sound squashed. That means, again, because I'm lazy, there's not too much automation needed after this compression, also because Evelyn sings very consistent. And I have to stress, she sings through a great mic, which I have here at the studio, which is of a local builder. I'm sure he's happy if I mention him. It's Frans Vollink. It's a local microphone builder who builds beautiful tube LDCs. It almost doesn't need any EQ, it just sounds lovely on Evelyn's voice. The only thing we did was a little bit of compression and
Shrewdly rules the world,
a little bit of de-essing going on in this area.
playing games with hearts and leaves them in a whirl.
It's great, works great with the analyzer. You really see where the problem area is. And just a little bit of reduction.
But just look beyond what you see.
So on the delay track is pretty much the same. I think they are even linked together. Let me see, and there's a extra delay going on, so let me first show you guys how it sounds.
Look at how they stare.
There's the delay.
They don't seem to care that she is in control.
Again, I'm just too lazy to automate it, so I use 2 tracks. But it works, it sounds nice. Let me just quickly show you guys what is going on over here. It's a mod machine, so it's kind of a filter and a delay in one.
Let's look at how they stare. They don't seem to care. Control.
You can hear some bleed of the headphones. So that's what's going on. you have some control about little words you want to jump out a bit with the delay. So that's about as far as the lead vocal goes. We don't do a lot of auto-tune, we don't do at all. Also Melodyne, I have it. Melodyne Studio 4 I use, but almost never on Evelyn. Sometimes, you know, just if a take is perfect and one little segment is just a little bit off key, then we do it, of course, but again, we try to redo it if it's not good. And Evelyn is really cool and patient with that, so that's great. Yeah, since it's such a big project with lots of tracks, I think I quickly can count how much tracks there are here. It's 106, so it's not even too bad. We've done worse. We have to do it in 2 parts, so that's all for today. So I hope you found it interesting and will join me again for part 2 of how we created this song.